Hello, my name is Yerdan Mukhalif, and today I will be presenting about the America's most toxic and ghost town, Picher in Oklahoma. So this is a general content that will be discussed today. I will start with the environmental issue in Picher, Oklahoma. Then I will be talking about the concentration of toxic heavy metals in soil in Picher, impacts of those metals on ecosystem, trends in mortality rates in Ottawa County, number of affected children in Picher, breakdown of children with lead by age, Picher population, and then we will end with the summary. So purpose objective of this presentation is to provide a brief history of Picher city, toxic metal exposure and risks, impacts of heavy metals on ecosystem and human health. Located in Ottawa County, Picher was once Oklahoma's most northeastern incorporated city. Picher became an incorporated community in 1920s with about 10,000 population. The town was built around lead and zinc mining. Picher mine shafts produced over 75% of the lead used to make bullets fired during the First and Second World War. Years of extracting ore from the earth led to large piles of toxic waste from the mines scattered about the city. The Picher area became a toxic place. The residents were exposed to harmful toxins every time they stepped outside their door. By the time mining stopped in 1970s, the damage was already done. When lead and zinc mining finally ceased, pumping water from the mines ceased, and they began to fill with water. This contaminated water began to seep from the mines. The groundwater was contaminated with high levels of lead, and the mining-induced eroded soil made sinkholes and cave-ins a serious risk. In 1983, the Picher area became part of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Superfund site program and remains the #1 Superfund site in America, with the 1,400 mine shafts in Picher area. The pathways of toxic metals exposure are mainly ingestion contained in soil, dust, and water, but inhalation can also bring a significant risk. In comparison to adults, children are at higher risk of exposure because their behavioral activities such as playing inside or outside their home in bare soil or sandboxes. Thus, risk of being intoxicated in children are higher compared to adults. The effects of heavy metal intoxication include cardiovascular disorders, neuronal damage, renal injuries, and risk of cancer and diabetes. So the next slide, you see the data obtained by the paper named Quantitative Analysis of Extent of Heavy Metal Contamination in Soils near Picher, with list of toxic heavy metals and their concentration. As you can see from this table, it clearly shows higher concentration of three major contaminating metals, lead, cadmium, and zinc, compared to other metals. And the concentration of these metals in soil is 20 times higher. And on the right side, you can see the concentration of mining shafts, the black dots, in tri-state mining district. As you see, the concentration of mining shafts in Picher is really high. So exposure to heavy metals can have enormous health effects, causing acute and chronic intoxication. Symptoms of heavy metal poisoning: frequent lung infections, hypertension, increased infant mortality rates, stunted brain development, neurological diseases, increased risk of kidney failure, and increased risk of lung cancer. So the figure 2 shows the impacts of toxic metals on the ecosystem. The toxic metals such as lead, zinc, and cadmium in the waste from the mining sites contaminate the entire ecology, from the nature environment to human life. As you can see from this picture, the toxic waste from mining sites contaminate groundwater, soil, air, which bioaccumulates in animals, birds, fishes, and microbials. Thus, this picture clearly shows that the contamination of ecosystem, which eventually leads to impact on human being health. In this slide, you can see the data obtained by the paper named Lung Cancer Excess in Abandoned Lead, Zinc, and Smelting Area, published in 1982. Analysis of cancer mortality has revealed a significant excess in old lead, zinc mining, and smelting area. This area consists of three rural contiguous counties, like Jasper County in Missouri, Cherokee County in Kansas, and Ottawa County in Oklahoma. As you can see from this figure, the lung cancer mortality rates among residents of these counties more than doubled in a short period of time. So this table shows us the mortality rates in Ottawa County compared to state and national rates today. As you can see from this table, the number of deaths from the infant mortality, cardiovascular disease, and cancer are significantly higher from state and national rates, especially lung cancer deaths, which is still high and 2 times higher than national rate. So it didn't only affect adults' health, but also children's. Over a decade after Superfund was established, it was discovered that 63% of children were suffering from lead poisoning in Picher. This graph shows percentage of children affected by the lead poisoning from 1995 to 2002 in Picher, compared to other tri-state mining districts areas. So as you can see, the percentage of children with lead in Picher was higher than in other Target Superfund sites. The increase that you are seeing in 1996 is mainly related to lead poisoning prevention program that started mass screening levels of lead in children's blood. The implementation of this program led to reduce the lead levels in children lower than 10 mg per deciliter. However, nowadays we can see the consequences of lead poisoning of those children. For example, during the interview of former residents of Picher lived in 1960 to 2002, and as a kid they played on chalk piles and swam in tailing ponds, their hair would turn orange and it would wash out. Heavy metal intoxication left them dyslexic and low IQ. So this figure shows a breakdown of children with lead by age. As you can see, the largest group is among children over 5 years old, which is mainly related to the behavioral activity. So in the last slide, you can see how Picher population decreased over years. Nowadays, Picher no longer exists as a community and it's a ghost town. In spring 2008, the tornado damaged many houses and killed 6 people. Due to the possibility of collapsing mineshaft, the Environmental Protection Agency determined that the town was dangerous to inhabit. In 2009, the town officially ceased operations and all commercial buildings were demolished in 2011. So in 2012, Picher's zip code was revoked. So quick summary here. Picher has a lot of abandoned mining shafts, and despite being a ghost town, it continues contaminating surrounding ecosystem with toxic heavy metals. Highly contaminated ecosystem with heavy metals negatively impacts human health living far from this area. This explains high morbidity and mortality rates. And this is the references. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.